A recent event has revealed some surprising insights into the behind-the-scenes dynamics of international relations. On March 27, after a brief stop in Guyana, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio traveled to Suriname, where he held a joint press conference with the country's president. During the event, a reporter raised a question about the influence of the Chinese Communist Party in the Caribbean and Latin America. In response, Rubio mentioned that Chinese companies have done a terrible job in these regions and suggested that the United States could offer these countries an alternative. Rubio gave an example, saying, "I just came from Guyana, where we had to drive on a road the Chinese built. We almost all had concussions because the road was so bad. It was terrible." He further stated that the road was worse than a dirt road, and if a similar road were built in the United States, the contractors would be sued and would have to pay a large sum. However, he noted that the current Guyanese government was not to blame, as the road had been constructed previously. The reporter, who also traveled on that road with Rubio's group, admitted that it was indeed very bumpy. Rubio went on to criticize the Chinese projects, saying that they are never finished on time and always exceed the budget. He also pointed out that Chinese companies bring in their own workers rather than hire locals, and in some cases, they pressure countries to borrow large sums of money, using it as a means to control them. On April 3rd, during a routine press briefing at the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a reporter asked for a comment on Rubio's claim that the road in Guyana nearly caused him a concussion. Spokesperson Guo Jiakun angrily criticized Rubio, calling him a liar, accusing him of smearing China and sowing discord. He then, in a teacher-like manner, lectured Rubio on the importance of doing something genuinely productive for the region. According to publicly available information in 2018, the Guyanese government joined China's Belt and Road Initiative. After that, Chinese companies began extensive construction projects in Guyana, including the expansion of Shoddy Jagan International Airport and the East Coast Demerara Road Project. By March 2023, Power China had completed the construction of the Shoddy Jagan to Man Road project, upgrading the main road in the capital, Georgetown. In December 2023, Guyana's Ministry of Public Works confirmed that China Road and Bridge Corporation had won the bid for the good success to Timahiri Road project. It seems that the ones lying with their eyes wide open are actually CCP diplomats themselves. Some online users pointed out that China's domestic economic situation is extremely grim, and foreign trade and the export surplus capacity are the only remaining drivers for the country. Chinese companies' involvement in the deadly building collapse during the Myanmar earthquake has recently turned China's export of Tofu-Dreg projects into a hot topic. Not long ago, a bridge under construction on a highway in the southwest of Bangkok collapsed, killing at least 5 people and injuring 24, all of whom were workers at the construction site. The accident occurred around 1:40 a.m. on March 15. The collapsed bridge was part of a major road connecting Bangkok to southern Thailand. Photos from the scene showed large metal and concrete structures lying on the ground, completely blocking the road. At the time of the collapse, concrete pouring was underway at the construction site. Initial investigations indicated that the collapse occurred because too much concrete was poured, causing the main truss of the bridge to collapse. After the incident, rescue teams and officials from Bangkok's Disaster Prevention and Mitigation Department quickly arrived at the scene using search dogs and specialized equipment to search for survivors in the rubble. Over 200 police officers and dozens of ambulances were dispatched by the Bangkok city government for the rescue operation. Thai authorities confirmed that the accident resulted in 5 casualties and 24 injuries, with 2 people still missing. The 5 deceased were all men, including a Thai engineer, 2 Thai workers, and 2 Burmese workers. The head of the Thai Highway Authority stated that efforts to clear the rubble were underway but would take up to a week. He added that the contractor responsible for the project had been suspended for 14 days pending an investigation. The highway project is a joint venture between ITD and Vichiban Plantation. The project started in January 2022 and is expected to be completed by the end of 2025. Interestingly, The only building that collapsed in the recent earthquake in Myanmar was a state audit office tower, which was also jointly built by Italian Thai Development plc and China Railway No. 10 Engineering Group. Data shows that ITD is Thailand's largest international engineering contractor, operating in industries including energy, municipal services, infrastructure, metallurgy, and petrochemicals. It is also one of the largest 225 international contractors worldwide. Thailand joined China's Belt and Road Initiative early on. One of the initial strategic goals was to export China's surplus production capacity, particularly in materials like steel and cement. The CCP offered loans to participating countries, allowing them to purchase Chinese construction materials, with Chinese companies, especially state-owned enterprises, handling the construction. ITD had close ties with the CCP and thus plays an important role in Thailand's involvement in the Belt and Road Initiative. According to the website of China Energy Development Holdings, the chairman of ITD led a delegation to visit the group in 2016. During the visit, they held practical discussions on the Tuba-Bangkok Integrated Engineering Project. Leaders from China Railway Construction International and China Railway Construction Corporation also participated in the talks. The Tuba Deepwater Port Project is also a significant part of Myanmar's participation in the Belt and Road Initiative. According to the China Energy Development Holdings website, ITD is likely the main contractor for the Tuba project and has subcontracted part of the work to Chinese companies. After the major bridge collapse on the Thai highway, the contractor responsible for the project was suspended for only 14 days, and further investigation has been inconclusive. After the collapse of the State Audit Office Tower, Thailand's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Transport, Surya, ordered the Thai State Railway to conduct a thorough inspection of the China-Thailand high-speed rail project to ensure all stages of construction and materials met international standards. ITD is in a partnership with China Railway and is currently working on the first phase of the China-Thailand high-speed rail project. The 250-kilometer rail line connecting Bangkok to Nakhon Ratchasima in northeastern Thailand began during the previous administration and is still under construction. China Railway is a parent company of China Railway No. 10 Engineering Group. Local media reported that authorities in Nakhon Ratchasima have conducted inspections of the rail structures, station buildings, and tunnels after the earthquake, finding no abnormalities related to the tremor. They confirmed that all structures are designed to withstand earthquakes and have a lifespan of up to 100 years. Some people have raised concerns about ITD's powerful background, suggesting it could be linked to its close ties with the CCP and the deep penetration of the Thai government. The company's role in the highway bridge collapse, followed by the collapse of the State Audit Office Tower just 2 weeks later, has brought ITD back into the spotlight. It is now linked to the Belt and Road Initiative and has earned the label of Tofu-Dreg projects. In fact, the CCP's export of Tofu-Dreg projects goes beyond just these examples. Let's take a look at some major overseas Tofu-Dreg incidents from the past decade. In November 2024, China Railway Group sparked outrage in Serbia. A subsidiary of the company was responsible for the collapse of a train station roof, which led to 14 people losing their lives instantly at the scene. Over the next few weeks, 2 more individuals succumbed to their injuries. The train station had just completed a 3-year reconstruction in July 2024. Serbia's Minister of Construction, Vesic, stated that the project had been carried out by China Railway International Corporation, a subsidiary of CREC, along with China Communications Construction Company. The Coca-Condo Sinclair hydroelectric power plant in Ecuador, once the country's largest infrastructure project, was contracted to Sino-Hydro Corporation of China, costing $2.7 billion and completed in 2016. China's President Xi Jinping even attended the inauguration, highlighting its importance. However, by 2023, the plant had developed thousands of cracks. Despite multiple attempts to repair them, the cracks kept reappearing, and local engineers feared the dam might collapse. Meanwhile, the slopes around Coca River were also eroding, threatening to damage the dam. On March 25, 2023, international media, reported that the hydroelectric plant was still undergoing international arbitration for design defects. The Neelam Jhelum hydroelectric power plant in Pakistan has faced similar issues. In 2022, the local government shut down the plant after cracks were discovered in a tunnel that carried water to the turbines in the mountains. At the time, the 969 megawatt plant had only been in operation for 4 years. The head of the Pakistan's Power Regulatory Authority had previously expressed concerns to the country's Senate about the possibility of the tunnel collapsing. In Uganda, an electricity company reported over 500 construction defects in a 183 megawatt hydropower plant built by China on the Nile River. The plant, which began operations in 2019, has experienced frequent breakdowns. The plant cost $567 million, with $480 million US funded through concessional loans from the Export-Import Bank of China. Another hydropower plant on the Nile, the 600 megawatt Karuma hydroelectric plant, also faced delays due to construction defects such as cracks in the walls. Built by China's Sino-Hydro Corporation, construction began in 2012, but the plant only began operations in September 2024. Uganda's electricity company had earlier stated that the wiring and switches installed were defective, and the fire suppression system needed to be replaced. Beyond hydropower, a large social housing project constructed by China's CITIC Group near the capital of Angola has faced complaints after 10 years. Many residents have reported cracked walls, moldy ceilings, and poor building quality. On June 26, 2017, the Sigiri Bridge in Kenya, built by China Railway No. 10 Engineering Group, collapsed and injured at least 27 people. The bridge, located in the western region, crossed the Nzoia River and had cost approximately 80 million yuan. According to Kenya's news report Nation, the bridge's construction was nearly complete, making the collapse unexpected. Sources suggest that uneven stress on the bridge caused the collapse, which occurred at the junction between the central span and an approach bridge. A project manager from China Railway, who was identified as Mr. Hua, denied that construction had violated bridge building standards. At the time, some people online questioned China Railway's denial, asking, how can they deny violations so quickly when the investigation isn't even complete yet? The performance of Chinese companies overseas reflects a long-standing issue of constructing substandard projects, a problem rooted in China's engineering culture and systemic flaws. A lot of Chinese people who are influenced by CCP propaganda truly believe that China's strength today is shown through its ability to build skyscrapers, railways, and bridges around the world. They claim that China is leading the way, but they often overlook the fact that while China's infrastructure development is rapid, the quality frequently falls short, sometimes even compared to children's Lego sets. On April 7th, in the Wendeng Nanhai New District of Weihai, Shandong, a balcony from a residential building collapsed. The building is currently unoccupied, and no one was injured in the incident. A safety inspection of the development is underway, and the cause of the collapse is under investigation. Some online comments pointed out, this is what happens when people are promised permanent ownership of homes. Can they even last 20 years? The Chinese real estate market is just a pyramid scheme. Others commented, now it seems that in order to solve the problem of unfinished buildings, these developers have completely lost their moral compass. On the same day in Nan County, Hunan, a homeowner filmed his experience after being influenced by online hype. He bought a so-called light steel villa that had been built for just 5 years, spending over 900,000 yuan. Now the exterior of the house is peeling off, the walls are cracked, resembling a haunted house from a movie. The homeowner is left helpless and in tears. Online commenters quickly followed, questioning, wasn't it said that Chinese people don't deceive other Chinese people? One user responded, there's no light steel here, it's bamboo. Don't believe it? Break open the wall and see, it's just a scam on Chinese people. A user familiar with China's construction industry shared his views. He mentioned that many of his friends work in architectural design and have been involved in large-scale projects. However, in the construction and infrastructure sectors, the designs and plans created by architects are often altered during the construction process. These changes are often made to cut costs, reduce construction difficulty, or use substandard materials. According to the user, this is especially common in China, where nearly every building and infrastructure project faces serious quality issues. Cutting corners has become the norm. The user further explained that some might think large state-owned enterprises like China Railway, which represent Chinese quality, should have strict quality control and produce high-quality buildings, but this is not the case. In China, especially in the construction and infrastructure sectors, there is widespread corruption. Many large projects, particularly those overseas, are usually bid on by large companies. After winning the bid, two scenarios typically arise. The first is when the large company directly oversees the construction, such as China Railway Construction, handling the 2.1 billion Thai baht audit office building in Thailand. However, due to widespread corruption, the leaders at China Railway often cut the project funds at various levels, taking a cut for themselves. After being squeezed multiple times, the remaining funds are insufficient to build a qualified structure. The second scenario is even more concerning. The successful company does not handle the construction itself, but instead subcontracts the project to smaller construction units, extracting huge profits in the process. Even more alarming, second and third tier subcontractors may also pass the work down to even smaller units, aiming to profit without doing the actual work. As the funds are passed down through these layers, they are repeatedly exploited. By the time the construction reaches the actual contractor, the funds are severely limited. The result is that these contractors, with insufficient funds and materials, are unable to meet the necessary standards, leading to a Tofu-Dreg project. The user concluded that the reason China has so many substandard buildings is not due to a lack of qualified materials or technical capability, but because the funds allocated for the project are drained through layers of subcontracting and exploitation. This leaves only a tiny fraction for actual construction, leaving contractors with no choice but to cut corners. This is what is known as Chinese quality, and the user questioned who would dare to use such buildings. Chinese companies have transferred this practice abroad through Belt and Road Initiative projects, but to make management easier and cover up the shortcuts taken in construction, Chinese cheap labor is often brought to foreign projects. They claim, why let the benefits flow to others? In reality, the investment funds just circulate, ultimately returning to the pockets of Chinese officials, providing no real benefit to the local population. Local governments and people are left with huge debts and nothing but shoddy buildings. The user called this practice shameless, suggesting that local communities will not thank China, but instead will come to resent the Chinese. This is something the little pinks cannot understand. On March 27, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio mocked the CCP with comments about a concussion, and the following day, Chinese companies put on a live performance of Tofu-Dreg projects in Bangkok. On April 3rd, reporters raised the concussion topic again. From the reaction of CCP officials, it's clear that they are truly worried, as Rubio's words hit a nerve. This comes after the CCP was severely impacted by the tariff war started by U.S. President Donald Trump. At this moment, Tofu-Dreg projects have once again been brought to the forefront, and the CCP can no longer maintain its calm facade. With foreign trade exports completely blocked, the construction infrastructure companies that export capacity have now officially been branded with a Tofu-Dreg label. At this point, it's the CCP that is truly experiencing a concussion.